Hello and welcome to another Orange Coast College mathematics video. In this video, we're going to be learning to do operations with fractions. Namely, we'll be doing multiplication, division, and exponents. So there's only a few things to know when we want to do these operations with fractions, which is one, how do we multiply fractions? It's actually very straightforward. You have a over b times c over d. You simply multiply across the numerator and across the denominator, so this becomes ac over bd. Division is almost as simple. If I wanted to take a over b and divide that by c over d, I simply take the first fraction on the left of the division symbol, a over b, and I instead of dividing, you multiply by the reciprocal of the second fraction. So a over b divided by c over d will become a over b times d over c. And finally, if I want to take a fraction to a power, then I simply take both the numerator and denominator to that power. So a over b to the nth power becomes a to the n over b to the n. Example 1, let's multiply these two numbers, negative 6 over 35 times 25 over 18. So using the rule for multiplying fractions, this just becomes negative 6 times 25 over 35 times 18. Now, these two fractions were both in lowest terms. Now we have common factors in the numerator and denominator. So what we can do is we can try to write out, notice here that 6 and 18 have common factors and 25 and 35 have common factors. So we won't go through each one sort of separately, but notice that 6 is a common factor of both 6 and 18. So I can write this as 1 times 6, and I can write 18 as 3 times 6. 25 and 35 have a common factor of 5, so I can write 25 as 5 times 5 and 35 as 7 times 5. And now I can just cancel out common factors. So here I have a common factor of 6 in the numerator and denominator, and I have a common factor of 5 and 5 in the numerator and denominator. So what I'm left with is negative 1 times 5 is 5 over 7 times 3 is 21. And we're done. Example 2, here we wish to divide 63 over 50. We want to divide that by 49 over 15. Now, again, both of these fractions are in lowest terms, but first thing we want to do, we want to rewrite this as a multiplication problem by taking the 63 over 50, and then we can change this to times, instead of division, multiplication 15 over 49. Now, what we want to do before we multiply across, we want to write these. We want to find common factors. So as I said before, this is in lowest terms and this is in lowest terms, but 63 and 49 have factors in common. They have a common factor of 7. In fact, 63 is 7 times 9 and 49 is 7 times 7. 50 and 15 have factors in common. We'll have a greatest common factor of 5. So 50 would be 5 times 10 and 15 would be 3 times 5. And so what we'll do now is we can just cancel out the common factors that we have in the numerator and denominator. So we have 7 cancels out that 7, and then we'll have 5 cancels out this 5. And so what we end up with here is we have 9 times 3 over 10 times 7, and that will give us 27 over 70. And we have no more common factors. Our final example is actually the most straightforward. If I want to raise 5 over 2 to the 4th power, this is equivalent to taking the numerator to the 4th power divided by the denominator to the 4th power. Simply take both numerator and denominator and raise it to that power. So using a calculator, we can see that 5 to the 4th is 625, and 2 to the 4th is 16, and we're done. Okay? Because 5 and 2 was in lowest terms, right, they have no factors in common except for 1. When I raise it to the 4th power, we still won't have any factors in common except for 1. So if we were in lowest terms here, we'll be in lowest terms here. Okay, multiplication, division, and taking exponents of fractions are fairly straightforward, but you might need a little practice to get the hang of it. Until next time, have fun.